Martha Johnson sat in a rocking chair by the window, gazing at the tulips blooming in her garden. The soft spring sunlight illuminated her silver hair, bringing out her serene expression. She had weathered many storms throughout her life. Especially 5 years ago, when she lost her husband Thomas to pneumonia after 40 years of marriage, it felt as if her world had crumbled. Looking at her husband's photograph, Martha let out a small sigh. "Thomas, I'm going to visit Lily today," she spoke as if her husband was still there. Since retiring from her job as an elementary school secretary, which she had held for 30 years, spending time with her granddaughter Lily had become her greatest joy. In the entryway, there was a vase of freshly picked daisies from this morning. Martha put on her coat and took a few flowers from the vase. Lily loved flowers. After a 30-minute drive, Martha arrived at her son and daughter-in-law's house. The 2-story home in a lush suburban neighborhood had been designed by her son Brian, who was an architect. He had grown into a mature, settled man. His gentle temperament, similar to Thomas's, was why many clients trusted him. "Mom, thank you for coming," said Lisa, Brian's wife, who opened the door. Lisa was an intelligent woman who worked as a proofreader at a publishing company. She always seemed busy, but she also had a kind heart that cherished her family. "Where's Lily?" Martha asked. "She's upstairs doing her homework. But when she hears her grandma is here, she'll come running down right away." No sooner had those words been spoken than the sound of feet rushing down the stairs was heard, and 8-year-old Lily appeared. "Grandma!" Lily jumped into Martha's arms. Her small arms wrapped tightly around Martha's waist, and Martha felt her heart warm. "I brought these for you." Martha held out the daisies. "Oh, they're beautiful. My favorite flowers." Lily's face lit up with joy as she accepted them. However, Martha noticed something different. She sensed a faint shadow in Lily's smile. She seemed less energetic than before, and there was something anxious in her eyes. In the living room, Lisa had prepared tea and cookies. While chatting, Martha casually asked, "Lily, how's school these days?" "It's okay, I guess." Lily lowered her gaze and began fidgeting with her cookie. "Didn't you get an award from your teacher?" Lisa prompted. "Tell Grandma about it." "Just a little art award, nothing special," Lily answered in a small voice. Martha frowned. Lily loved drawing and usually proudly showed off her artwork. Something was off. Brian should be back soon. "He'll be a bit late today." Lisa changed the subject. Just then, they heard the front door open. "It's me," a woman's voice called, and Lisa's mother Carol appeared. "Oh, Martha. I see you're here," Carol said with a perfect smile. Carol resembled Lisa, but there was something calculated about her expression. She had moved to the neighborhood 2 years ago after divorcing her husband. Although Carol appeared calm and polite on the surface, Martha felt something unsettling about her presence. Perfect timing, Carol turned to Lily. "I was just about to give you a special math lesson. At my house. But Grandma just came." Lily's voice grew smaller. "You can see your grandmother another time. Studies come first." Carol's voice was gentle, but her eyes were cold. Martha was about to say something, but Lisa spoke first. "Mom, since Martha is here today, could we reschedule the lesson for tomorrow?" "Well." Carol considered for a moment before agreeing. "But you must come tomorrow, Lily." Martha didn't miss how Lily's expression stiffened for an instant. Something was wrong. Lily had become quieter than before and even seemed afraid of Carol. However, Martha avoided pursuing it at that moment. It was a time of gentle afternoon sunlight streaming through the windows when Martha's car pulled up in front of her son's house. Today, as promised, she was visiting to spend time with her granddaughter on Wednesday, when Lily got out of school early. Concerned about Lily's recent behavior, Martha had been visiting more frequently than usual. "I'm here," as she called out, and Lily came rushing from the entrance hall. Martha didn't miss the momentary look of relief that flashed across her small face. "Grandma, you came." Lily hugged Martha's waist. "Let's play a game today." Martha gently stroked her granddaughter's hair and smiled, "Of course. Let's have some of the shortbread I brought along too." She knew Lisa would be late because of an editing deadline, and Brian was also going to be late checking a construction site. It was precious time to spend alone with Lily. On their way to the kitchen, Lily tugged at Martha's hand and said, "You know, I drew a picture at school this week. Would you like to see it?" Martha nodded happily. Lily seemed to be regaining some of her former liveliness. While Lily went to her room to get the drawing, Martha began preparing tea in the kitchen. As she was about to open the refrigerator, she noticed a family schedule posted on the door. Among the colorful marker-written appointments, she noticed several dates carefully marked with red circles. They weren't regular, but appeared 3 or 4 times a month, scattered throughout the calendar. When Lily returned, Martha casually asked, "Lily, what are these red circles on the calendar? Some special plans?" In that moment, Lily froze. Her eyes widened, and she looked frightened. After a moment's silence, Lily lowered her gaze to the floor and answered in a small voice. "It's nothing. But those days are always a bit unpleasant." Martha was surprised by her granddaughter's reaction. Lily's voice contained anxiety and fear. She placed her hand on Lily's shoulder and gently said, "Why are they unpleasant? Won't you tell me?" Lily raised her face and was about to say something when the phone rang. While Martha answered, Lily returned to the living room and began spreading out her drawings. The call was from Brian, saying he would be even later. After hanging up, Martha tried to bring up the red circles again, but Lily seemed to deliberately avoid the topic, enthusiastically explaining her artwork instead. Normally, Martha would have been delighted to listen to her granddaughter's creativity, but today she felt something was off. That night, after returning home, Martha couldn't settle her mind. She wondered about the meaning of the red circles and Lily's reaction. The next day, she called Lily, timing it for when she would have returned from school. "Lily, it's Grandma. I enjoyed yesterday." "Yes, I had fun too," Lily's voice sounded bright. "You know, about those red circles on the calendar we were talking about yesterday, could you tell me a bit more?" Silence fell on the other end of the line. "Those are just..." Lily stumbled over her words, then suddenly changed the subject. "You know, Grandma, something interesting happened at school today." Martha didn't press further and listened to Lily's story. However, after that conversation, her concerns grew stronger. Something was happening. Her intuition told her so. On the weekend, Martha decided to visit Brian and Lisa. She chose Saturday morning when both would be home. While drinking coffee, Martha carefully broached the subject. "I'm a bit concerned about Lily." "Did something happen?" Brian asked. "She seems quieter than before. And there are days marked with red circles on the refrigerator calendar." Lisa shrugged. "Oh, those are the days my mother comes over. She helps Lily with her studies, especially math, which she struggles with." "But Lily said those days are unpleasant." Martha chose her words carefully. "Mom," Brian said, looking a bit troubled, "kids sometimes dislike studying. Lisa's mother might be strict, but she has Lily's best interests at heart." "That's right," Lisa added. "My mother is passionate about education. It was tough for me as a child too, but looking back, I think it was for the best." Martha felt somewhat disappointed by their response. They seemed too busy, or perhaps unwilling to see the situation, to notice the changes in Lily. On her way home, Martha remembered the calendar. When was the next day with a red circle? She decided she would see for herself how Lily was doing on that day. The day marked with a red circle arrived. In the early afternoon, Martha parked her car a short distance from her son's house and watched. Shortly after Brian and Lisa left for work, she saw Carol's car arrive. Carol entered the house carrying a large bag, walking with confident strides. Martha waited in her car for about an hour. It pained her to imagine what might be happening inside. Finally, she made a decision and got out of the car to approach the house. She didn't intend to ring the doorbell. She just wanted to check what was happening inside, even if just through a window. Going around to the backyard, she could peek through the living room window. Through a gap in the curtains, she saw Lily and Carol sitting at the dining table. Lily appeared to be writing something. Carol peered over her shoulder, said something, and Martha could see Lily's body tense up. Martha held her breath. Suddenly, Carol snatched up Lily's notebook and began scolding her loudly. Lily's shoulders trembled, and she kept her head down, motionless. Martha was speechless. What she witnessed through the curtain gap confirmed her worst fears. Martha's hands were shaking. She couldn't even insert the car key properly. After finally starting the engine and driving far enough from her son's house, she exhaled deeply. The scene she had witnessed through the window wouldn't leave her mind: Carol's cold expression, Lily's trembling shoulders. This was not simply tutoring. Something serious was happening. Back home, Martha consulted her calendar. The next red circle day was a week away. What should she do until then? Brian and Lisa might not take her seriously, as they hadn't before. But she couldn't remain silent. The next day, Martha arranged to take Lily to the park. Brian and Lisa had weekend plans and readily agreed. On a pleasant autumn afternoon, the two sat on a park bench, ice cream in hand. "Lily, can you tell Grandma something?" Martha carefully began. "Is there anything troubling you when you're with Grandma Carol?" Lily stared at her ice cream, silent for a while. Eventually, she said in a small voice, "Grandma Carol is always angry. When I get a math problem wrong, she makes a really scary face." "How does she get angry?" Martha gently asked. "She says I'm stupid. And that if I don't try harder, Mom and Dad will abandon me." Lily's voice trailed off. "But that's not true, right?" Martha felt a pain in her chest. "Of course that's not true. Mom and Dad love you more than anything." Tears welled up in Lily's eyes. "But Grandma Carol says I won't be loved unless I'm a good girl. And she tears up or throws away the pictures I draw. She says art is a waste of time." Lily tried to hold back her tears, but a single drop rolled down her cheek. Martha hugged her granddaughter tightly. Suppressing a mix of anger and sadness, she renewed her determination. She couldn't allow Lily to be hurt anymore. On the next red circle day, Martha arrived near her son's house earlier than before. This time, she intended not just to observe but to gather evidence. She prepared her smartphone to record audio and video. As expected, Carol's car arrived, and she went inside. Martha carefully approached the house and, like before, peered through the window. This time, the window was slightly open, allowing her to hear the conversation inside. "Do it again," Carol's harsh voice came through. "You can't even solve a simple multiplication problem. You really are stupid." "But..." Lily's small voice followed. "My teacher said I'm doing well." "That teacher is too soft," Carol said coldly. "The world isn't that kind. Your mom can't be strict like me, so I have to toughen you up." Martha began recording with her smartphone. In the living room, Lily was working on a math drill. Carol stood beside her, arms crossed, watching. When Lily got stuck on a problem, Carol's expression darkened. "Another mistake," Carol's voice trembled with anger. You really are hopeless. You won't be able to do anything in the future at this rate. Lily hunched her shoulders and gripped her pencil tightly. I'm sorry. Apologizing doesn't solve anything, Carol sighed. Your mom was much smarter as a child. I wonder who you take after. Martha felt anger rising within her. While continuing to record, she changed her position at the window to film from a different angle. She captured everything clearly: Carol's expression, Lily's frightened manner, everything. Then a shocking scene unfolded. Carol picked up a drawing that Lily had placed beside her workbook, one she had made at school. This is why your grades aren't improving. Carol stared at the drawing, then suddenly tore it in half. Stop! Lily cried out, tears streaming down her face. That was a drawing my teacher praised. Crying won't help, Carol's voice was cruel. Face reality. Your mom and dad are too busy to worry about your education. That's why I'm making sure you shape up, so you can survive in society in the future. Lily was sobbing as she tried to pick up the torn pieces of her drawing. Carol pushed her hand away and threw the scraps into the trash. Now, enough crying. Back to solving problems. Martha decided she had enough evidence and quietly left. Anger burned inside her, but she needed to stay calm. Back in her car, she checked the video she had taken. Both the audio and video were clearly recorded. Upon returning home, Martha immediately called Brian. Brian, do you have time today? I have something very important to discuss. What's wrong? Is there a problem? Brian's voice was tinged with worry. I can't talk about it on the phone. I'd like to meet with you and Lisa tonight, when Lily isn't around. After hesitating briefly, Brian answered, all right. Lily was planning to stay at a friend's house, so could you come by around 8? Martha began preparations. She organized the video evidence, notes on her conversations with Lily, and her observations. This wouldn't be an easy conversation. It would be especially difficult for Lisa to acknowledge her mother's behavior. But for Lily's happiness, it was a path they couldn't avoid. That night, Martha sat in Brian and Lisa's living room. 3 coffee cups were placed on the table. Martha took a deep breath and began speaking. I'm here today because I have serious concerns about Lily. What happened? Lisa asked anxiously. I believe Lily has been losing her spirit lately because Carol has been emotionally abusing her. Mom, isn't that an exaggeration? Brian frowned. Lisa's mother might be strict, but to call it abuse. Look, Martha took out her smartphone and played the video she had recorded. As the video progressed, Brian and Lisa's expressions changed. Lisa covered her mouth with her hand, and Brian's face gradually reddened with anger. When they saw Carol tearing up Lily's drawing, Lisa finally burst into tears. This has been happening every week. Lisa's voice trembled. On the days marked with red circles, Carol is alone with Lily. And this is what she does, Martha said quietly. Remember, Lily said those days were unpleasant. Brian clenched his fist and stood up. Why didn't we notice this sooner? His voice was filled with self-reproach. Lisa wept silently. Eventually, she raised her face and managed to say, Mother raised me strictly in the same way when I was a child. But I never thought she would do something this terrible. I'm not blaming you too, Martha said gently. I know you're both busy with work and trying your best for Lily. But now, we need to take action to protect her. The 3 talked until late into the night and decided to confront Carol together the next day. The next morning, Martha, Brian, and Lisa quietly waited for Carol to arrive. After last night's long discussion, the 3 had barely slept. Fatigue was especially evident on Lisa's face. Facing her mother's actions was the most painful trial for her. "She's here," Martha said, looking out the window. Carol's car stopped in front of the house, and they could see her getting out. As usual, she walked with confident strides, carrying a large bag. It probably contained harsh assignments she intended to give Lily. The doorbell rang, and Brian stood up. Unlike the previous night, his expression had regained its calmness. He intended to handle the matter coolly but firmly. "Mom, what's going on?" Carol was surprised upon entering and seeing the three of them. "All three of you together, is something special happening?" "Sit down," Brian said quietly. "We need to talk." Carol sat on the sofa, looking somewhat wary. "Where's Lily?" "She's staying at a friend's house," Lisa answered. Her voice trembled slightly with tension. "Mom, we need to discuss our approach to Lily's education." Carol's expression stiffened for a moment. But she quickly composed herself and said, "Is there a problem?" "I've been helping with Lily's studies." Martha took out her smartphone. "Carol, we know what you've been doing to Lily." "What do you mean?" Carol's voice turned cold. Martha played the video. Carol's harsh scolding and Lily's crying filled the living room. When it came to the scene where Lily's drawing was torn up, the color drained from Carol's face. "This is illegal surveillance." Carol raised her voice. "It's an invasion of privacy." "Is that all you have to say?" Brian said quietly, but while suppressing his anger. "You have nothing to say about my daughter being emotionally tormented." Carol took a defensive stance. "I'm just passionate about education." "You're all too lenient. The world is much harsher, and I was just trying to teach her that." "Mom," Lisa stepped forward with tears in her eyes. "This isn't strict education. This is abuse." "Abuse?" Carol raised her voice. "This is how I raised Lisa. And she turned out to be a fine adult. What's the problem?" "That is the problem," Lisa said quietly but resolutely. "I was treated like this by you as a child, too. But I thought it was normal. Now, I don't want Lily to go through the same experience." Carol was momentarily speechless. Anger and confusion flickered in her eyes. "I've been doing what I thought was best for you all. Even with good intentions, if the method is wrong, the result will be bad," Martha said. "Lily is now doubting her own worth and is even afraid to draw pictures. Is that the result you wanted?" "But..." Carol tried to make excuses, but couldn't continue. Brian placed both hands on the table and looked straight into Carol's eyes. "As of today, your one-on-one time with Lily is over. We decide the educational policy for our child. If you don't like it, you don't need to come to this house." Carol's face flushed. "Are you actually throwing me out?" "Lisa, aren't you going to say anything?" Lisa exhaled deeply and said, "Mom, I agree with Brian. Lily is hurt. If you want to continue a relationship with your granddaughter, you need to change how you interact with her. There are conditions." Carol looked incredulous. "Not conditions, boundaries," Lisa said quietly. "Any time spent with Lily will be with me, Brian, or Martha present. And we will not allow any behavior that denies Lily's interests or demeans her." "You're saying I need supervision to see my granddaughter?" Carol's voice shook with anger. "You've lost our trust," Martha said frankly. "It will take time to regain it." Brian stood up and said, "Our decision won't change. Lily's happiness is our top priority. If you can't agree to this, let's end it here today." Carol silently stood up and took her bag. "I never thought I'd be treated like this," her voice mixed with anger and wounded pride. "Mom," Lisa placed her hand on Carol's arm. "We don't want to exclude you. We just want to protect Lily. Take some time to think about it." Carol said nothing, pushed Lisa's hand away and headed for the door. After she left, a heavy silence filled the room. The three looked at each other with exhausted expressions. Was this the right thing to do? Lisa asked in a small voice. It was necessary. Brian put his arm around his wife's shoulders. For Lily's sake. Martha stood by the window, watching Carol's car drive away. It will be hard at first. But this will be a new beginning. The next day, when Lily returned from her friend's house, she had a brighter expression than usual. She must have enjoyed her time with her friend. The whole family was gathered in the living room. Brian sat Lily on his knee and gently said, "Lily, we need to talk about Grandma Carol." Lily's expression clouded for a moment. "Do I have to study with her again?" "No," Lisa smiled. "You won't be studying alone with her anymore. From now on, either Daddy, Mommy, or Grandma Martha will be with you." Lily's eyes widened. "Really? But won't Grandma Carol be angry?" "We've talked with Grandma Carol," Martha said gently. "Everyone was sad to learn you were having a hard time. And I want to apologize to you," Brian said with a serious expression. "Daddy and Mommy should have noticed. Things will be different from now on. I promise." Lily gradually relaxed and asked in a small voice, "Can I draw pictures again?" "Of course," Lisa hugged her daughter. "You can do whatever you like. No one will tell you that it's wrong." A full smile spread across Lily's face for the first time in a long while. Brian retrieved a package from the corner of the living room. "This is for you." When Lily opened it, inside was a new sketchbook and a set of vibrant art supplies. "Wow!" she exclaimed. "Would you like to go to the park tomorrow afternoon and draw together?" Martha suggested. "It's the perfect season to capture the autumn colors." Lily nodded enthusiastically, clutching her new art supplies to her chest. The seasons changed, and after the harshness of winter, spring sunshine once again illuminated Martha's garden. Among the colorful faces of tulips and crocuses peeping out, she waited for Lily to arrive. 4 months had passed since that day, and the family had gradually healed. Lily slowly regained her former brightness, and things improved at school. Brian and Lisa adjusted their work schedules to spend more time with Lily. With the help of a family counselor, they regained confidence as parents. The doorbell rang, and when Martha opened the door, Lily rushed in with a cheerful smile. "Grandma! Look, look!" She proudly held up a drawing. It depicted a vibrant spring landscape. "I won a prize in the school art contest." "That's wonderful." Martha was genuinely delighted. "You've really improved." Entering the living room, to her surprise, she saw not only Lisa but Carol as well. Upon seeing Martha, Carol looked a bit uncomfortable but greeted her politely. Martha excused the intrusion. A few weeks after the confrontation, Carol had begun personal counseling. She was starting to realize that the strict education she had received from her own mother as a child had unconsciously influenced how she treated Lily. It would take time for her to change completely, but at least she was making an effort. Today, for the first time, she was allowed to visit Lily together with Lisa. "Grandma Carol came to see my drawing," Lily said. There was no fear in her voice anymore. Carol smiled and quietly said, "It's a very lovely drawing, Lily." Her words no longer carried the critical tone they once had. That afternoon, Martha spent time with all 4 of them in the garden. Lisa and Carol were carefully but gradually engaging in dialogue. Repairing their relationship wasn't easy, but they were both making an effort for Lily's sake. Lily was drawing the garden flowers, with Martha and Carol sitting around her. The 2 grandmothers, once at odds, were now watching over their granddaughter together. A new light of understanding seemed to shine in Carol's eyes. In the evening, when Martha returned home, Lily had brought a new refrigerator calendar. "Look, Grandma. It's a new calendar." Martha looked at it and felt a warm feeling. There were no red circles anywhere anymore. Instead, various events were marked with yellow stars: Day Grandma Carol visits, Drawing in the Park Day, Museum Day. All were marked with bright colors. "From now on, every day will be a happy day," Lily said cheerfully. The following weekend, as Martha was tending to her garden, Lily came alone. Brian was waiting in the car a short distance away. "Is there something special happening?" Martha asked in surprise. Lily handed her a handmade card. It had colorful flowers drawn on it, and a picture of Martha and Lily holding hands. "Grandma, thank you," Lily said with a serious expression. "For helping me." Martha felt a warmth in her chest and hugged Lily tightly. "Grandma will always love you." Lily responded with a full smile. "I love you too, forever and ever."